5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Troy Trojan Vision's The Week That Was. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Now this is our first show of the semester, so this week we'll be going back a few weeks to review some of the major campus news and events so far for the fall. Well, in July, Pike County native and renowned civil rights leader John Lewis passed away after a battle with cancer. But on July 26, Troy University's Board of Trustees honored the memory of the boy from Troy by putting his name on a building that is a centerpiece to the campus. Jessica Phillips reports.
All opposed?
That was the sound of a vote for the renaming of Troy University's main campus historic building, Bibb Graves, after Congressman John Robert Lewis.
The Board of Trustees of Troy University just passed unanimously a resolution to name our keystone building on campus, right in the middle of our quad, the John Robert Lewis building, after the boy from Troy, Congressman John Lewis.
If it hadn't been for Pike County and Troy, Alabama, I wouldn't be standing here today.
Lewis is a Troy native and died at 80 years old in July. Lewis has left a long-lasting legacy behind, and by being an advocate for change in the country, the Board of Trustees agreed this would be the best way of honoring Lewis. Board of Trustee member Lamar Higgins shows his gratitude and appreciation to Troy University for the renaming of the building Bibb Graves Hall to honor former U.S. Representative John Robert Lewis, the boy from Troy, who was denied acceptance from Troy University.
I can't think of any greater honor that we could do to bestow upon someone whose application was not even accepted at Troy State College. And then in 2020, to name the signature building after him, I think speaks volumes of the leadership, the culture, and the change that has occurred at this university.
The students at Troy University brought the attention to SGA President Nicole J. John by starting a petition for the renaming of the building Bibb Graves in hope of having a positive outcome.
A lot of students were behind the renaming of the building in general. They just believed with the circumstances that have been this year and this summer that it would be best just for a more united university and a positive university. So I think they're going to be fully behind this, and it's going to get a lot of positive feedback. Jessica Phillips, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
The renaming of the building comes at a time when the country is dealing with issues relating to race. And as Shankiltra Osborne shows us, many Troy students felt the name change was an appropriate way to honor a man who meant so much to the civil rights movement.
Thursday morning, I went out to get the campus's opinion about the recent name change to Bibb Graves Hall.
I was kind of shocked, but I thought it was a really good way to include Troy's history and just kind of show diversity and how we accept it here.
Adia Polk says this was something she never expected from her school.
With the history of Alabama, it's kind of hard to kind of see things changing, but I think Chancellor Hawkins has done a good job with announcing that, or kind of using his platform to say, we are a diverse school that's changing, and with those changes, certain things have to change like this.
Troy University announced last month that they would be naming the building after John Lewis. When asking the students their thoughts, this is what they had to say.
I think it's monumental. John Lewis was one of the last big great ones from the civil rights movement, and I think it's amazing, especially with all this going on right now. It keeps it in the focus, this movement's not going away, and this is really showing that the university is willing to take a change and a step in the right direction.
Maurice Richards says the change meant a lot to Troy University's black community, and he can't wait to see what they can do next.
I feel like it's inspirational to the black community at Troy University, and I feel like it was appropriate because of what's going on right now with the racial profiling.
The change is said to be effective immediately, and the building will now be known as John Robert Lewis Hall. Shankiltra Osborne, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Across the country, people are showing their support for the victims of racial injustice by taking to the streets and marching. And on Friday afternoon, the Trojan football team did the same as they took a break from pads and play calling to make a call for justice. Sam Granville has the story.
I think our team has decided to express their feelings about the way things are going on and doing it in a positive way, which I think is outstanding, and it shows the true quality that we have on this team.
The Trojans football team took a stand against racial and social injustices by means of a unity march on Friday afternoon as the team marched across campus to the newly renamed John Robert Lewis Quad. Upon arrival to the quad, multiple team leaders got behind the mic and spoke a message of unity and togetherness.
This is a serious time that we're going through, and actually I think we're blessed to go through because we're the ones that are being able to change something today. Don't matter if you're black, white, blue, purple. Respect goes a long way. Respecting your fellow man, women, everything.
The reason I love football is because we're able to be successful because we put those backgrounds to the side. We come together 365 days out of the year, and we work towards a common goal. You know, and that's how it needs to be in this issue of racial injustice.
Troy University has already made tangible changes to the campus this semester by the renaming of Bibb Graves Hall after the late representative and boy from Troy, John Robert Lewis, who passed away in July. Senior wide receiver Khalil McLean says more changes need to happen in the community, which starts with teaching unity at a young age.
I love the youth, you feel me? That's the community that I feel like if we invest our time in, that's where the change is going to come from. 40, 50, 60 years from now when we old men and our kids are growing up, they won't see skin color. They won't see anything, you feel me, but the blood, you feel me, that we got in our veins.
Brigadier General and Troy University Board of Trustees member Edward F. Croyle also spoke after the march and acknowledged the football team's impact on the community.
I couldn't be more proud of you because you are defined not only by what you do on the football field, but what you do off the field as well.
While the Trojans football season has seen a delay to start, the team's presence was made well known after their march across campus on Friday. Sam Granville, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll see how Troy University is handling things in the world of COVID-19. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
The start of this school year has, of course, brought some new challenges due to the coronavirus. As on-campus activities resumed, Troy University had to put some new policies in place to ensure student safety. Jessica Phillips has the details.
Fall semester started differently this year due to COVID-19, as students and faculty are required to follow new campus guidelines. Although some students switched to online classes, Dean of Students Herbert Reeves says the numbers are not significantly different than previous semesters of students taking campus classes.
We do have some students that have opted, to go online, and we've accommodated those students that want to do that. But we have a lot of students that are, here on campus taking in-class classes.
With campus classes being taught differently, this includes the number of students in the classroom at one time. Faculty has accommodated so students have the opportunity to participate by utilizing hybrid learning.
Been situations, or several situations, where we have, I would refer to them as hybrid type classes, where they may be in the classroom one day of the week, and the other 2 days of the week they're online with the instructor, so that we can split up some of those larger classes, but they still get the in-class experience. So has changed that.
While you don't get penalized for not wearing a mask while on campus, it is strongly suggested to do so, but students aren't having a hard time adjusting to that.
I have seen a lot of students that are just really proactive about wearing the masks. I think they're ready, as Dean Reeves said, to do their part and just ensure that we can stay on campus. So they're all ready to wear their masks. They're encouraging each other to do that, just to follow health guidelines and the correct protocols to ensure that we can have a safe campus and be as healthy as possible.
Jessica Phillips, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
And one of the first activities affected by the coronavirus was Greek life. As a week into the semester, fraternity social activities were put on hold until after Labor Day. This week, Troy's fraternities opened their doors again after the 2-week break. However, as Brady Talbert shows us, some fraternity activities are still put on pause.
Troy University fraternities have reopened their doors after a 2-week closure following some coronavirus cases popping up on the row. The decision was made to delay formal recruitment until after Labor Day after a cluster of 14 members of Delta Chi tested positive, as well as a few other cases in individual houses. On Tuesday, recruitment kicked off with organizations limited to 10 brothers per house with face masks on.
We've started official recruitment this week, and so now the groups will start again having some of those activities, but still maintaining those guidelines that we started at the beginning of the semester.
Chapters are currently unable to host social events such as date parties and semiformals. With home football games a little over a month out, tailgating is a topic of discussion.
We do have a pretty good runway for that with our first football game not being for several weeks here. So I think we're going to continue to evaluate everything, and the senior administration will look at things and decide what's best for our student body as we continue to try to make it to December.
Dean of Student Services Herb Reef says any organization, not just fraternities, could be evaluated. It's just a matter of COVID-19 trends.
We have a large number of people that are participating in some other activity, whether it may be SGA, whether it may be the band, whether it may be the Baptist Campus Ministry. I'm not picking on any of them, but I mean, are there any trends there? Are we seeing any trends in any of the other residence halls? Are we seeing any trends in a particular academic area that we need to take a look at?
Last week, a number of student leaders met to discuss the coronavirus. Presidents and leaders from Greek life, athletics, SGA, student media, and more spoke with university officials to clear up information surrounding the school's handling of COVID-19 and to offer some suggestions. The night's theme, Make It to December. Claudia Peppenhorst reports.
These are a few words that you might hear on a daily basis. COVID-19, coronavirus, symptoms, or perhaps quarantine. But Troy University is focused on a different set of 4 words, Make It to December. Leaders from each organization on campus met Tuesday night to discuss the game plan to finish out the fall semester strong despite the ongoing spread of the virus.
So tonight was an opportunity for myself and Dr. Schmidt, who is the Senior Vice Chancellor for Student Services, to get in front of the student leadership on campus and talk to them a little bit about our goals and our objectives to get to the end of the semester, and just to answer questions and address concerns that they may have about what's happening with the coronavirus, our protocols, our procedures, and so forth.
A main benefit from the Make It to December meeting is to clear up any confusion that the campus leaders might have. They were allowed to ask questions and get the correct information to spread to their organizations.
So the inspiration came from a conversation that I had with a student a week or so ago, who was asking me questions about some of the practices or policies and protocols that have been initiated, and I kept saying, no, that's not true. That's not what's supposed to be happening. They said, well, that's what we're hearing. So I went to Dr. Schmidt. I said, look, I really think that if we can clear up some of the misconception and the misunderstanding, that may go a long way in helping our students understand what we are expecting of them.
The university is encouraging students to take the necessary steps if they have been exposed to the virus as a way to protect their own health and to continue pushing forward the current in-person semester so that we can all make it to December.
What we are emphasizing is what the Alabama Department of Public Health is emphasizing and what the CDC is emphasizing, and that is wear a mask, stay socially distanced, and then watch the amount of time that you are engaged with someone inside of that 6-foot distance.
If you would like to stay updated on the current cases on campus, you can go to troy.edu/coronavirus for more information. Claudia Peppenhorst, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Although Troy's football season has been delayed until September 19th due to COVID-19, we have learned about how Troy Athletics plans to social distance fans at home games in Veterans Memorial Stadium. Sam Granville has a look at how the game day experience at the Vet will be altered this season.
The Trojans football season is just around the corner, and with the novel coronavirus COVID-19 still having an effect on the U.S., Troy Athletic Department has made major changes to game days to allow for a safe and socially distanced event.
So we're looking forward to having our fans back in the stands once again this upcoming season. Right now we're limited capacity, and that's going to involve our season ticket holders as well as our students in the Sound of the South. We'll have the entire band out there. Same thing, all the cheerleaders will be out there as well too. But with that as well too, we're asking all fans to wear masks in the facility, as that'll be a requirement this season. We're going to help spread people out as well too. We've done that with our season ticket holders with a reseating process, having 2 additional seats between them to help spread them out in the reserve seating. Same will be true in our general admission sections as well. Those will be social distance sections as well too there. So taking a lot of precautions to make sure that our fans can come join us first and foremost, but we also want to make sure it's a safe and healthy environment for all fans as well.
For Troy students who in previous years have shown up to the stadium with only their student ID, there has been significant changes for them as well.
For our students, they'll be assigned a section they're going to be able to sit in. They'll be on their physical ticket, so it's your student ID plus your ticket in order to gain admission into the stadium. We're going to separate people within those sections as well too, so we're not going to pack them out there. We want to make sure that people are spread out throughout the facility there. We've also added additional sections for our student section as well. So in the past it's been 4 sections. Now we're increasing to 11 sections devoted to our students this year.
Tailgating will be permitted outside of Veterans Memorial Stadium this season with proper social distancing guidelines. The amount of tents outside of the stadium, however, will be significantly reduced to allow for spacing between fans. And yes, if you're wondering, face masks and coverings will be required at all times unless actively eating or drinking.
We're really excited to have our fans back in the stands again this year. We do need people to wear masks. The good thing is our first home game will now be in October, so it'll be a little bit cooler when it comes time for that as well too. But with that as well too, we're taking extra precautions to make sure our fans are in a healthy environment the entire time they're at the stadium.
Veterans Memorial Stadium will be open 2 hours ahead of kickoff this season to allow fans to safely find their seats with less interaction. Sam Granville, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Within the guidelines released by the Sun Belt Conference was a mandate that limits on-field access. And one group in particular that this affects is Troy's own Sound of the South. Stuart Bradley shows us how the band is handling the big change.
While it appears the Trojan football team will soon return to the turf of Veterans Memorial Stadium for the 2020 football season, another group familiar with that same turf will unfortunately have to watch from the stands. Recent seating guidelines for Veterans Memorial Stadium were released by Troy's Department of Athletics and stated that the Sound of the South band as well as the cheerleaders will not be allowed on the field to perform for the 2020 season.
We were disappointed, certainly, but we understand completely. You know, I mean, it's a Sun Belt Conference regulation that applies to all the schools in the Sun Belt Conference. And so we're going to make it work just like our colleagues and our sister universities are, you know.
While the Sound of the South will no longer be able to march and put on a show from the field this year, the show must go on, and it will do so in the stands.
The pregame sequence is still going to be the same. We're still going to do all the music and the national anthem and the alma mater and all of that. We're just going to do it in the stands. We're going to add choreography and we're going to add movements and things like that. But they'll have to be, within the social distance rules.
While having the social distance while in the stands presents a challenge to Sound of the South, Dr. Walker says that the band plans to follow COVID-19 guidelines to keep everyone safe and still deliver a quality Sound of the South caliber show.
As long as we're in the stands and as long as we're playing and supporting the Trojans, we're still going to have that kind of energy and that kind of intensity. So even though we're spread out, it's still going to be there. They're still going to bring it. Absolutely.
One way this pandemic has taken its toll on Alabamians is through unemployment. The Alabama Department of Labor says that the number of jobless in the state continues to grow. Troy University's Office of Career Services is taking steps to help graduating students get hired, although as Brady Talbert shows us, it looks a little different right now.
The unemployment rate in Alabama continues to rise as the coronavirus pandemic plays out. The most recent numbers from the Alabama Department of Labor show over 176,000 Alabamians jobless in July.
When the pandemic first hit, employment in Alabama went down, but you already know that. And while the job market looks a little different right now, career counselors are advising young adults to put themselves back out there.
Companies are still hiring, it just looks different.
Emily Reese works in Troy University's Office of Career Services. She says that while the COVID-19 shutdowns may have been a hurdle, potential hires need to adjust to new socially distant hiring practices.
I think everyone had a little bit of a reset in March, but we all had to kind of push through and figure out different ways of hiring, and so now they're looking virtual, they're hoping to find people through that virtual networking.
And with a focus on virtual networking, Reese says Career Services is offering students avenues to get hired.
I think we've noticed in a lot of companies and a lot of industries, everything's just going online and going virtual. So we have definitely tried to jump on board with that to help promote our office, but also to help students at the same time. So we're doing virtual workshops and actually hosting our first ever virtual career fair.
Each Wednesday this month, the office is holding career fair prep workshops from 3 to 4 o'clock through Handshake. On September 30th, the office is hosting a 100% virtual career fair. And lastly, Career Services says students can submit their resumes to be reviewed before they send them off to employers.
Really helping students become job ready for when they graduate.
To schedule career counseling, you can email troycareer@troy.edu. Career Services is located in Eldridge Hall.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how Troy University is helping teach those that will someday be teaching our children. It's coming up right after this, so stay tuned.
At Troy University, we offer military students more than just flexibility and convenience. We offer top-ranked programs that are an investment in your future. And like the military, you'll be part of something. A powerful network of more than 158,000 alumni worldwide. And we will be with you all the way. Proudly serving our military since 1950. Trojan Warriors, one and all.
Troy University's Dothan campus has a resource designed to both care for children and to help train those to care and teach children, the Coleman Center. And the center recently received a major grant that will aid them in their efforts. Sam Granville has the details in a report from our Dothan campus.
What's this? Car, good job.
Welcome to Coleman Hall at the Troy University campus in Dothan, Alabama. The 14,000 square foot facility houses the Coleman Center for Early Learning and Family Enrichment. Thanks to a new federal grant, it will be seeing improvements coming soon.
The Coleman Center, which will have been open for a year on September 9th, is home to 70 full-time young students aged infant to 5 years old. A federal grant received by the center worth over $500,000 will go towards continuing to grow the center, reaching the Wiregrass area's youngest generation at its most vital age.
These grants from the Alabama Department of Early Childhood are extremely important to our success. Like I said, they are enabling us to provide a solid foundation for these children, for their parents, for the staff. It's just a focus on the whole child, and without this funding, we would not be able to do all that we know that we should do just because the funding needs to be there.
With the grant set to begin on September 1st, Director Mitta says the center is already mapping out how the funds will be used.
We are all in the process of having positions posted, working on budgets, looking at adding additional staff, equipment purchasing, and all of those. So right now we're in the planning stages.
As the center is set to rapidly grow, Mitta says they hope to become a model for other early learning centers in the state.
And we're thankful for this grant funding so that we really can make Coleman Center a model for the Wiregrass. This is really the way that all early childhood programs should be run. And fortunately, we will be a model for that, and hopefully these will continue to spread throughout the state.
Reporting from the Troy University campus in Dothan, Alabama, Sam Granville, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Trojan Center is getting a new look. Allison Polk shows us what changes are to come and what to look forward to.
If you were to travel to the second floor of the Trojan Center, this might be a noise that you will hear, along with seeing these signs everywhere you turn. This is due to the new construction that is happening above the Trojan Center food court. We spoke with the Director of Student Involvement and Leadership, Barbara Patterson, to see what changes are coming soon.
Well, there's quite a bit of construction going on, TC. I think it's a little confusing from the students what entrance you can enter. But there's several things happening. First, the Trojan Center ballrooms are being renovated, and then the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, that has been completely torn down and is being reconstructed. And then the new health center is being built in where the old fitness center was. And then we are also having 2 new meeting rooms, a meeting room for the SGA Senate and a meeting room for just for students in general.
Due to the age of the building, many systems and maintenance was over 40 years old, according to Patterson. That is why the university decided to update and remodel the upstairs of the Trojan Center.
It's just the age of the building. There are just many things that were out of date, were not working well, and of course with the addition of the new fitness center on campus, that space needed to be used, and it was just a great opportunity for a new health center to be built.
There is no set date on when the remodeling will be done, but Patterson says that a lot of people are hoping to have all the construction done by the beginning of the spring semester. Allison Polk, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Another Trojan Center change allows students to dine out while out in the open air. Brady Talbert shows us how.
There have been some recent concerns expressed by Troy University students in the Troy Students Facebook group on how the school planned to social distance diners in the Trojan Center food court, which tends to be a bustling place for people to grab a quick bite. Alongside socially distanced markings on the floor and hand sanitizer stations, an outdoor tent was made available this week for students to spread out and eat in the open air.
There's a lot more tables out here, so if there's too many people in TC and it's full in there, we can just come out here, eat outside.
Bailey Faulkner is a senior at Troy who says she's glad the outdoor tent was pitched.
I agree that there definitely was not enough tables inside, and it's too hot to be sitting at these tables out here, and I really appreciate the university listening to our concerns and taking action immediately.
She also said that while eating indoors, despite some students ignoring the floor markings, she feels secure.
I do feel safe sitting at the tables, and there's been a few times where people have come up and asked me to step out or ask people to stand on the stickers to make sure that we are social distancing, so I felt pretty safe.
Nothing is set in stone just yet, but the university's food vendor Sodexo says an app is in the works which will allow students to order food from their smartphone. Brady Talbert, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy University's International Arts Center has a new exhibit that was inspired by the 2016 presidential election. Kenrietta Stinson explains how.
Inside of the International Arts Center, there's a new exhibit on display by a Troy alumnus and adjunct instructor that dates back from 1984 to 2020. In this exhibit, there are many series of artwork by Mr. and teacher Dwayne Paxson, and behind me is his latest artwork, The Death of Elegance.
This series was came upon me. I was actually watching the Republican debate in 2016, and I was noticing the abrupt talk in the debate. And I immediately recalled in 1986 the Frank Zappa interview on Crossfire, talking about his vision that sometime in the future politicians would be more abrasive with their language. And I immediately said, my goodness, that's my show.
Many of the sculptures in Paxson's exhibit tells a story from his life experiences.
Dwayne's work has it's always been a very personal expression of who he is and things that he's interested in.
In the exhibit, you will see a range of different sculptures, some inspired by prehistoric times, while other pieces are more modern.
As you move to the center, those kind of megalithic, almost forest beasts were done I believe in the 80s, just after grad school, and they're a reflection of a trip to England when he saw Stonehenge.
This exhibit is now open to students and the public until November 28th. Kenrietta Stinson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And that's the week that was. To find out what's happening on a daily basis, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or follow us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook to see online content from Troy TrojanVision News. Until next time, have a good week.